Hey up YouTube. As you can see, finally got round to being in the shed, filming something in the shed, this being conversation shed and all. Just wanted to have a sort of quick chat with the people out there in YouTube land about upcoming projects, about sort of a release schedule, sort of how often I aim to be putting out videos, and a few other things really. And I'm going to do a bit of clearing out there on the allotment, a bit of prep work, as I know for a lot of allotmenters, sort of growing season comes to an end, and they stop producing videos, they cover their plots, they leave their plots. For me, winter, that's not what I do. Winter is actually normally my busiest time, especially as a new plot holder. I find it's best to do as much prep as possible when you haven't got to worry about taking out the weeds or avoiding plants or things like that. It makes life a lot easier. So you'll sort of see me, hopefully, for the most part, my corn's done, so that's coming out. The squash plants that are outside, they're coming out. I've got two in some raised beds that are still producing just fine, and they can sit there. They don't need to go anywhere at all. They can stay there in that raised bed and keep producing until they're done, till they keel over. They're not in the way, they're not stopping me from planting anything else, so they can stay there. The pumpkins, I've got one good sized carver and two small ones, so they're going to come off and maybe come out, quite frankly, because I've got what I need from them. I only grow them to get some carvers because my eldest's birthday is Halloween, so I literally only grow them for carvers. Nobody in my house eats pumpkin. I think the missus likes pumpkin pie, but the amount of prep work you have to do to make pumpkin into a pie filling, a sweet pie filling, it's just, the payoff just isn't worth it. Just isn't worth it, for me anyway. So hopefully, I'm going to time lapse that, because it's not exactly interesting, but in the grand scheme of things, it should sort of show you where I'm at, where my head's at, and what I do with regards to the off season, whereby a lot of people just stop coming to their allotments. Fine. Anyway, enough about that. Sort of want to talk about a bit of a schedule now. I'm hoping, now I'm not a great video editor, so things take me a little bit longer, and I don't have a video editing PC, so compiling a project, I think I did one, that 30-minute seed reveal, it took 5 hours to compile, which is fine. It doesn't bother me. I just leave the laptop away to do its thing, but it slows me down considerably. So, you know, whilst I say I'm going to attempt to get a video out I think I'm going to go Wednesday, Sunday. I think I'm going to try and get a video out every Wednesday and every Sunday. It may be a quick chat video, it may be an unboxing, it may be a bit of gardening, who knows, but I'm going to try. Obviously through winter that gets a little harder. I've got a couple of projects that I'm doing through winter. I've got sort of leading on to the videos that I hope to be releasing. I've got the solar panel project. I go and get the batteries, so that I will have all the hardware to at least get it wired up and get power in the coming. I collect the batteries on Friday, so hopefully I will be starting to record that series. I'm going to try and cover as much as possible, show my mistakes as I make them, because undoubtedly I will. The only thing I have done so far is I've screwed the solar charger to where I want to put it, and I've built the frame up on the shed roof in a south facing position, and that's all I've done. The board that I'm mounting, I've got 2 panels. The board that I'm mounting everything to, that is removable. I'll be taking that down and bringing it down and sort of bolting everything on. And it may be a little bit boring for some, but for others, I know from myself, there was one other gent, he did a solar panel guide, and he's the most comprehensive one I've seen. There's a lot of others who just say, mount your solar panels, run your wires to your batteries, and away you go. If it's that simple, great, but I'm going to show you all the trials and tribulations, or at least that's my intention. So, you know, from bolting them down to, undoubtedly I know full well I'm going to mismeasure something or not get something level or something like that. From overcoming hurdles of running wires, I'm a skinflint, I'm trying to do things as cheaply as I can. That's not always the best way to do things, but yes, I'll try and show every little in and out, and then once that's in, it then evolves a bit more into running some powered water irrigation into the polytunnel and greenhouse here. You know, that's probably going to be next year. So they're going to have the solar panel project in coming weeks. We're going to have a bit of a boring one, but to coincide with a short video that I'm going to probably tag into this one, I'm going to do me doing hopefully a whole side, but at least a portion of fencing between myself and my neighbour's plot, because I see a lot of people on Facebook saying, how have you built your fences, and things like that. So I'm going to record that. I'll probably time lapse it, because, you know, once you see me put one post in, or probably 2 posts, and then run the connecting beams and screwed on the lats, you know, it's just rinse and repeat. There's nothing new I do between each post. It's just rinse and repeat. The important thing is a bit of prep work. Measure your holes, run a line so that you try and get things as level and as straight as possible. But at the end of the day, it's just an allotment. As long as it's secure enough for your needs, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not a show garden, unless yours is a show garden. But you know, mine isn't. Mine's a veg patch with chickens, and like I said, the only reason I'm doing a fence is because I've got a husky, and anybody who's got a husky knows they do like to wander. So, you know, whilst I have no doubt in my mind she could quite easily clear a 4.5 foot fence, I'm hoping she's trained enough not to. But we'll see. That's the intention anyway, to get the plot fenced off. That's the only reason. There is a little bit of theft, and touch wood, since I've done the wonky fence down the bottom end, I think the stuff that I've had stolen versus the stuff that everybody else has had stolen has been minimal. I've lost, I think, half a dozen cabbages. There are guys that have lost 40-50 potato plants. There's guys that have lost all their onions. There's chickens gone missing, the works. So touch wood, unless somebody's scouted me and has come into the shed and gone, oh, this looks like it's going to be a good place, and they're waiting for me to build it, you know, there's only so much you can do. I did find out recently that you can get your allotment insured. That may be a discussion for another video. I'm going to do some homework on it and see how much it is, what it's worth, so on and so forth. But yeah, sorry, back to one topic at a time. So solar panel, fence, and then I've got to prioritise it. I wanted to do this the other way around, but I can't do I was going to do a new chicken run and coop, but needs must. I need 2 people to help me do the chicken coop. That's myself and hopefully my partner Tony, and she will. She can't come down at the moment because we haven't got the fence up. We can't keep a close enough eye on the dog if we're building something, you know, that's 8-9 foot high. So I need to do the fence first. So it's gonna be solar panel, fence, and then a new chicken coop. Bundled in with the chicken coop, there's going to be water harvesting, roofing, chicken wiring, whatever. And then once that's done, then I can go on to the irrigation, because I need the water collection in place. So I've got 2 water butts and an IBC. So I'm hoping, whilst I don't need to harvest rainwater, there is water on the allotment. The plants are a lot happier with rainwater, and if I can automate it, I'm a bit of an IT guy. That's what I was before I started, before I became a mechanic. I'm going to write some programs. I'm going to try and automate my watering system. I may even make it on the internet with a little 3G adapter and an Arduino. I don't know. We'll see. I need to find out sort of how much power my 2 leisure batteries and my 2 solar panels will generate, whether it generates enough to power this stuff. I mean, it'll definitely power a water pump and things like that, but if I start bolting on things like Arduinos, which they're only a little bit of power but makes a difference, if I start bolting on stuff like that, is the draw going to be too much? You know? The other projects are going to be sort of getting stuff ready for the competition, the fun with Mick and Tom, the guys that do the fishing videos. So that's going to be prepping the carrot barrel, starting off the Showmaster onions, and then in January time, December-January time, there'll be the starting of the chilies. Hopefully some seeds have turned up from Andy of Bournemouth Chilies. Look him up on Facebook. I'll try and link down below. If not, there will be a link on our new Facebook community page. That is now up and running. So hopefully I'll at least link to him there. It's a great lad. He's helped me out of a bit of a bind, because I wanted to grow some super hots for a bit of fun, and he sent me them, you know, and he's trying to get a little business up and running, so any help I can give him, I'm more than happy to do so. So check him out. He sells pods, he sells seeds. I don't know if he's diversifying a bit next year into sauces and jams. I don't know, but at the moment I know he does pods, you know, freshly picked ripe pods, delivered to your door, of the super hots. So that'll be underneath for sure. So let me get to digging out there. Okay, so hopefully I've inserted editing's not my forte. Hopefully I've inserted a very short time lapse. I intentionally kept it short. It's just me digging up plants. Of what's going on at the moment. Rain has stopped play, so I'm just putting the camcorder away. Rain has stopped play. I recorded for as long as I dare, but then it really started coming down. Even the chickens decided, nah, we're going inside. So it's time, as Sean James Cameron says, for a cup of tea, or in my case coffee, because I'm a northerner. I don't know. But yeah, time for a coffee and see if the rain stops. If the rain stops, I can get a bit more done. But just to explain, I don't know if you pick up on it on the time lapse, but I've pulled all the sweet corn, all the stalks. You can't, some people do, but you can't really leave them to break down. I mean, in certain parts of the world they turn them into walking canes. They're strong old plants, they're tough as old boots, and they'll take a couple of years to break down. I don't have access to a shredder, so I can't break it down. If I could break it down and put it back on the soil, I would, because the amount of nitrogen that sweet corn takes out of the soil is immense. So anything you can put back is always a bonus. So you may notice at the end of the video when I pulled the squash and the pumpkins, you may well notice that I've laid those on the bed. Then hopefully I'll do a slightly longer time lapse next. If the rain stops, I'll put some plastic over it, and the plastic will just go straight over the green matter that I've laid down. Obviously, as I say, I've taken out as many of the weeds as pretty much just fat hen on there, which is not a terribly bad weed. It comes out really easily. It's just very prolific. So yeah, hopefully the rain's going to stop. I'll give it till I've had a cup of coffee. If it hasn't stopped, I'll go home, so you're not going to see what I'm rambling about. But if the rain stops, I'm going to go out, I'm going to get it covered in some plastic. Okay, just as promised, I'm just going to do a quick walk around. It is going to be quick because this video is going to be really long as it is. Either it's really going to test my editing abilities, which are non-existent. So I apologise, but stay with me. You know, there's a couple of discussion points in the video. I'd like you to join me over on Facebook for a bit of conversation about what we've said. After all, this is Conversation Shed, and you know, we're trying to encourage a community. It's not just about YouTube videos and, you know, trying to cash in on the on the internet stardom. So I'm going to do a little walk around and yeah, show you some bits and pieces. Not a great deal's changed, so it is going to be brief. I've had a great day today, to be honest. I've been down here for maybe 5 hours. You know, had an hour off watching the rainfall. So yeah, this is I can't even get it all in shot. This is the wood. This is my wood pile. It was meant to be to build the chicken coop, as I've said. I'm gonna have to repurpose. It's gonna have to go into the fence because I've got to prioritise the jobs I've got to do. Marcus, the gent who brings me the wood, hopefully he's going to be joining the channel. Maybe this year, maybe next year, I don't know. Excellent builder. I wish he'd have joined. I wish we'd have been able to get his shed build on, because his shed's amazing. But he's a tradesman. He knows a lot more than me, and he's got the tools for the job. So, you know, he's who you want telling you how to build stuff. And you see down here, in fact, you can see in there, my Christmas potatoes. I still haven't got the hang of doing this pointing thing. Christmas potatoes are starting to come up. My own seed potatoes aren't showing anything yet, but those ones were chittered. Those ones weren't. They just had a bit of time in the fridge. So I don't know. They might not have been in long enough. I might end up having to buy some. It's all just an experiment anyway. I'm not too bothered. My second sowing of corn. It's little, but there's cobs on it. You know, I planted it out of pity. You see, also, as I've said, these are the beds that are retired. This one actually, yeah, this one is going to have cabbages in it for overwintering. They're in the greenhouse at the moment. I'll do a little walk around at home as well. These are the patty pan squash, growing brilliantly, well chuffed. More alpaca muck. This is where the wongbok cabbage was. I had to pull them out. I didn't have the cameras on me. But I had to pull them out. They were bolting, but well chuffed. Ended up with about half a dozen out of a dozen. The rest had bolted, but you know, it's the risk you take. This bed is also now retired with alpaca muck. That, I think, is going to be where my elephant garlic's going to go. I'm going to do some in pots, majority out there. But you know, it needs to be outside. It needs a frost on it. So, strawberry bed. Try and show you in there. It is a mess. It is a mess. I think next week, probably next weekend if the weather's dry, I'm going to come down and take all the strawberries out and replant them, maybe in a different bed, because this one really, it's wasted on strawberries. It's tall. It's a good It's taller than the one down the bottom there with the French beans in, which I'm not going to show you. You've seen them before. You see, some very naughty person's been spraying glyphosate. I know a lot of people have issue with it. I don't. It's starting to take effect now, which means that come winter, when I start getting my trailer fulls of wood chip, this is all going to be ready. Thanks to Marcus again for the plastic. You know, without him, there's so much I wouldn't be able to do, because A, I don't have the money, and B, I refuse to spend the money. So, you know, tip of the hat to you, sir. I appreciate everything you do. He's also brought me a load of weed membrane, so I'll be able to sort of rake some of this back and properly lay weed membrane under it on my paths. Because my paths are set now. I'm happy with the layout on the raised bed side. You see, they're in there. They're probably, come bonfire night, I mean technically I'm not allowed fires on the allotment, but come bonfire night I'm probably going to have to rake all this out, and all this, I'll probably burn the majority of it, so it's not going to break down, and I want to take this down over winter, and redevelop all this bottom end. I'd like it to be a bit of a sitting area, a bit of a social area, but we'll see. But yeah, I'd like to take it down, and it'd be a good spot for a bonfire, so away from the fence, away from the wonky fence a little bit. Speaking of the wonky fence, just quickly to tie in what I was talking about earlier, this, oh, you know, pointing malarkey, all up there, all the way back there, that's all to be replaced. That's hopefully going to be the next released video, is going to be me starting to do that. I think it's either going to be that or the solar panels, one of the two, depends what happens first on the weather, because I don't want to fanny about with electrical wires in the rain. So, but you know, I can dig holes and put posts in the rain. Just quickly, sort of some of the stuff. Lettuce. This is a blueberry. It was looking very sorry for itself. I didn't get much off them this year, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to take them out, I'm going to prune them back for cuttings, and I'm going to put them in pots. That one is just in a 30-litre pot. It's going to go into a bigger one over winter. What are you doing? You better not be eating my lettuce. Sorry, one of the hens. I don't know if you can see her down there, eyeballing the little gems. I'll go get her in a minute. I don't mind her having a bit of a snack. There's more than enough there. In the time lapse, if any of you eagle-eyed watchers catch it, you'll see me actually occasionally peeling a cob and throwing it. That we're all having a good munch. A lot of the crop that I grow here, I grow for us and for the chickens, like kale for example. I grow that purely for the chickens. Does them a lot of good. Plenty of iron, plenty of magnesium, plenty of key nutrients. So, you know, a couple of leaves of that now and then. Although this year they just decimated the plants where they stood, but it's for them. And I just put it in as a little catch crop as and where I've got space. So anyway, I'm going to wrap things up. I'm going to do another little walk around at home, sort of having a look at my chili plants. I'm not going to do inside the polytunnel today. You guys have seen that, see blue in the face. The next time you'll see inside the polytunnel is probably going to be, probably when I strip it out, I'll probably do another little time lapse. It's a quick one here, the peanut, which is that one. It's growing well. So I'll see you later.